So we must do two things, two great things together, to encompass that enormous new view that lies before us, but to encompass it within the framework of science, to see it within the whole categorical framework of science, and to see that these two are not separate, but that they are wedded. The bigness of the idea, the newness of the idea, the greatness of it is one with the structure of science, the structure of being itself.
Then we come to soul as spirit, and what is the epitome at that point? It is that this prayer, the prayer of sinlessness, strengthens the sinless affections. Beautiful. Sinlessness strengthens sinlessness. Autocatalysis, huh? Prayer strengthens the sinless affections, whereas the sinner only reaps the destruction of sin through suffering. The nature of the system, the nature of the relationship of mind, spirit, and soul is strengthened. It's strengthened by the regulatory principle, by the feedback principles. And that whatever is not of the nature of mind, spirit, and soul is going to go out, will be excluded through the homeostasis. So let's read that text. Saints and sinners get their full award. I hear really the homeostasis. They get their full award for what they put in. You know, when Max first took this tone, he said it was the law that you reap what you sow. At which you sow, you reap. Saints and sinners get their full award, but not always in this world. The followers of Christ, can you hear that? The followers of Christ, what are those systems that adhere to mind, spirit, soul? Mind, spirit, soul, the followers of Christ. These are the ones that are becoming Christians. Drank his cup. That seems to be a cup sometimes. Ingratitude and persecution filled it to the brim, right to the top, the fullness of it. But God, and I hear at once divine science, the divine cybernetic principle is working, the divine self-organizing principle is working. What does divine science do? It introduces more. You see, what I hear at the beginning is a kind of a steady state. Saints and sinners get their due award. But God pours the riches of his love. You hear something now coming through the system, coming from the self-feedback principle of divine principle love, through the system of absolute Christian science, the homeostasis, the positive feedback. Something's going to be put into the system, fluctuated in to the level of Christian science. What is it? The riches of his love are poured in. This is now the homeostasis, bringing something more in. Into what? Into the understanding and affections. Giving us strength according to our day, giving us strength according to our day. So I hear the homeostasis, but I also hear that it's not just one day, but every day is a new day. There are 7 days, if you want to look at it that way. And so there is not just a homeostasis, but a dynamic homeostasis that is under the impulsion and the breaking in of the homeorasa, the pouring of the riches of his love.
So the suggestion that comes up at the point of soul as spirit is, why should we struggle and strive to reform? Why should we strive to adhere to mind, spirit, soul? Look at the sinners. They go another way and they flourish, because she says right after that we just took, sinners flourish like a green bay tree. But looking farther, the psalmist could see their end, the destruction of sin through suffering. But we look at the sinners and they seem to get along just fine. And what do we get? We get ingratitude and persecution. And she says, no, saints and sinners, whatever, you get your award, you get it here or hereafter, and always according to your day, always according to your inward growth. That's the homeostasis. Steady state is maintained. It's according to your day. According to wherever you are in your development, you get the like award. And that like award is a full award. But you get also something else. Not only will you see that sin will always meet with destruction in the end, always meets with destruction because of suffering. This is love. This is love. Love will always bring you back on the course. And not only that, but the homeorasa is working for you, because God pours out to you the riches of his love. Not just according to where you are right now in the development, but always increasing your understanding and affections. Isn't that beautiful? On the other coast, we said we had a little shelf on the wall, and it was a shelf for relics. And we put up there sinners and what else? Even saints. Let's see, what else did we put up? Oh, the works of the devil, that went up there. Suffering went up there. All the religious terminology. But, you know, I feel differently about that shelf now. I feel that actually the relics that go up there are our mistaken sense of what those terms mean. And that the moment we can see them cybernetically, then the text is beautiful. It does not need to be changed. Yes, I wanted to say, too, about the sinners seeming to flourish, that when sin is destroyed through suffering, it is sin that is destroyed and not the system. We are not destroyed. The
dynamic, evolving system is not destroyed. So often we mix this up, the suffering, and don't understand its place value and the scientific modus operandi that is going on. So the correction of sin is the correction of the negative feedback mechanism, of the homeostasis, and it corrects the system. It doesn't destroy the system. But another thing you can see is that the nearer you are to the goal, the less deviation is tolerated by the system, by the divine system. Just think about it for a minute. The nearer you are to the target, to the goal, the less deviation is tolerated. This is actually was a central issue in the 40s when they were first establishing the science of cybernetics, because the purpose of that work had to do with the, as I understand it, with the war at that time and the need to be able to build guided missiles, to have a guided missile that you would send off from its initial starting point, and there must be some way to guide that missile to its target, even if the target is moving, that the a moving target, the missile had to adjust to reach that target. And so one of the great problems that they had to deal with was that the closer the missile gets to its target, the less deviation is tolerated by it. A very tiny deviation can change the course by miles, you know. And so it is with us. And that's why sinners, they don't seem to have any problem with that. It's a near equilibrium system, and it can tolerate a lot of deviation. But the farther away we are driven from equilibrium, the more advanced we are in our spiritual and scientific understanding, the less we can deviate from the course. I don't know if you've experienced that, but it's true. It's true. But that in simple parlance, yes, because we know better. All right, let's look at soul as soul. Our temptation in soul is soul?
Soul is spirit.
Oh, soul is spirit is the temptation that says, why should we strive to adhere to that? Yeah, to mind, spirit, and soul. With all the ingratitude that's involved and so forth, looking at the immediate circumstances, the human circumstances, reading the situation with the human mind.